Another question I get asked a lot is how to expand our children's diet. So for parents who have limited eaters, this really is, an important question that I get asked a lot. So one way of expanding a child's diet is food chaining. So food chaining is using a food that your child is already eating and identifying new foods that are similar. So that could be similar in colour, in shape, in texture, in smell or taste, and serving them at mealtimes. So let's take an example. So I often hear that McDonald's chips are the child's favourite types of chips. So obviously McDonald's chips are a certain type of chips. I call them a thin chip. So if you were doing this food chaining, you might think, okay, so can I go somewhere else other than McDonald's that has slightly different chips? They're still chips. So we'll say fatter chips like in Supermax, but they are a little bit different. So this is the idea that you're introducing a food that's more similar than not, but it is a little bit different, and see will your child accept that. Now, for some children, they're not at all in a place where they can accept a slightly different food. Some children I help will not, accept a different flavour, let's say of yogurt or a different brand of, for example, crackers. So offering them that food is not, not a suitable strategy. You need to work back and step back before that. But for some children, food chaining may be the way to expand their diet. So eating with distractions. Just wanted to say a little bit about this because some parents will tell me that they feel, they can't get their children to eat, we'll say the dinner, or to eat certain foods if they aren't distracted, usually with a screen. So the goal in theory again is that there is no screens with eating. Okay, I have no problem with screens before and after or whatever, but during eating, I think, children can get too distracted by a screen. So I would be recommending that you replace that with some other distraction that's a little bit less distracting. So it might be, an audio story that's been read or music. So there is something else there, but it's not quite as distracting as we'll say an iPad. You can go cold turkey and say, okay, that's it. No more screens at eating, which is difficult to do, or you could gradually reduce it. So a much easier approach. So if your child, for example, spends 10 minutes eating, let's say, with a screen, you could move to 9 minutes and try and have 1 minute to start with that's screen free, and then build that up over time. I suppose there are exceptions to this general rule, or the general goal I would have of eating with no distractions. And that is for children who are very, very anxious around eating. So some of these children will have maybe high anxiety in other areas as well. And to get them, to eat, it's a very anxious time for them. So a screen may be needed. Or the other exception is for children who don't seem to feel hunger. So there are children who will go for hours without eating. So it's like it doesn't register, or if they are hungry, you'd have to look at root causes, why are they not hungry? But some kids don't seem to register the hunger. So it is important to still offer food regularly, even if our children, aren't registering their hunger. And a screen may be needed there. Okay, let's have a very quick focus on breakfast. So this is a quick tip that may work in some people's houses. So for some kids and children, breakfast is the best meal of the day because they have been fasting overnight, they wake up, they're most hungry, and I suppose what we offer for breakfast, like in Ireland, we're one of the biggest consumers of breakfast cereals in Europe. So, it's a very nice, the cereal or whatever, it's a very nice option. But for other children, they really struggle with eating anything. So, they may be too tired. So could, see about getting a few minutes more sleep, even 15 minutes more sleep a night. They may be very rushed, maybe 5 minutes earlier, to allow for more time for breakfast might be, work very well in your house. But another simple tip might be, so we think, when you're sleeping, your body's resting, but your kidneys actually are still working. So often, for some of us, we may wake up and we may be slightly dehydrated. So offering a small drink first may help stimulate the appetite. So it's worth trying if your child isn't that interested in breakfast. Breakfast is really essential, I feel, for growing bodies. They've already been fasting overnight from whatever time they finished eating the night before. So you don't want to prolong that fast any longer. And, you want them fueled going into school for their mind and body. So you need to, I suppose, if breakfast time is a struggle in your house, how can you make it as easy as possible for your children? Is the food quick to eat? Is it portable? You might be wanting to get a bus or whatever, the car after this, and prepping ahead. Sorry, it's hard to see that in my screen. So, there's lots of things we can do once we prepare ahead. So I'm the type of person, I always like to have as much as I can done the night before, in case we sleep in, or just so I know when I'm going to bed, okay, the lunch is made, or, whatever, the school bag is ready, just in case, as I said, things go pear-shaped in the morning. So, you can do things like, we say, French toast. That could be made ahead, and you could pop it in the microwave in the morning, or you could make like small pancakes, cook them, and you can pop them in a toaster on the morning and heat them up. So I said, if our children are having difficulties eating a breakfast, well, can we support them in some way that makes it easier, that they do get some fuel before they leave the house or before they start school? Very quick focus next on packed lunches. Again, we know there's particular challenges with packed lunches. Some kids, for example, only want to eat an apple that has no peel on it. They don't want that in the school lunchbox, or, they've very little time and they can be distracted by others. So again, how can we make it easy and quick to eat? I would recommend that there's no surprises in lunchboxes. So, if you put in a lolly or chocolate or something, that kind of surprise is okay. But I'm talking about surprises like you might be saying, I'm not sure if they like this fruit that much, but I'll put it in and see. So I wouldn't put it in the lunchbox. I would offer that at a time away from, the lunchbox, where, you can kind of see how they react. Because some things go into the lunchbox and they spend the day at school and they come home the same as they went in. So I think no surprises, fruits, that kind of thing, or veg, or anything really, protein or carbs, is a better approach. Of course, research would show that when children are more involved with food, that, they're more likely to, eat the food. So you might even ask them, if we'll say you're making the lunch, would you prefer, we'll say, a choice? You can have a cheese sandwich or you can have a chicken sandwich. What would you like tomorrow or later? So that they feel they're involved. So again, the choices, maybe 2 or 3 choices that are similar, that they usually like, you can offer. Of course, they can make lunches themselves. And if that seems like a big task every night, you could even get them to make the lunch once a week. So getting them involved, I think, there's more likelihood that they eat. And I would recommend not having a load of different items in the lunchbox. I think it's better to have maybe 3 or 4 components, so you're not overwhelming the child and they can be taking little bits. 3 or 4 kind of core components, and that's the lunch.